Welcome to the Half Thumb Homestead. Was noticing a dark wet spot next to my reverse osmosis system spigot in the kitchen. You can see the difference in color here. This is dry and this is wet. I've had this before. The O-ring inside the standpipe here leaks. So we have to take this off and change the O-ring. Now, something every homeowner, DIY guy should have in his house is a set of these things. These are an assortment of O-rings, and it will make your life incredibly easier if you have this stuff in your house, in your garage, wherever. So when you need it, you can use it. So we're going to take off the spigot up top here, the spout. We're going to back up the bottom here so it doesn't twist on us. And we're just going to grab a hold of this guy and just give a little twist. Now, you can also protect it by sticking a rag around it and grabbing hold real tight of the rag. And this thing just spins off. It's real simple. You don't need to shut the water off because the water is actually shut off here already. So, I'm gonna grab a hold of that sucker and we pull it out and it gets messy everywhere, water everywhere. So you can see it's pretty old. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit and get right back to you. So I've taken this thing apart, taken off the little backup ring here that goes on like so on that third ridge. I've cleaned up inside here because it was pretty dirty. And I'm going to change these two O-rings. I've just used an old kitchen sponge to clean up these areas a little bit because if they're not clean, they're not going to seal. So once we get those O-rings out here, I'll set them aside because I want to be able to determine what size they are. And then I'll clean up the ridges a little bit. So I'm going to remove these two O-rings. Just a little pick from Ullman here. Comes in a set of 4. So have one of the ends of the spigot on the ground, otherwise, or the table, otherwise it'll shoot off of there. Now I'm going to take a Scotch-Brite that I've taken here and I've, cut them up in small pieces because you don't need a whole piece of Scotch-Brite to do this. I believe the red's more coarse. I'm going to start with this guy. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. We're going to try and get inside those grooves. Which missing half my thumb makes it a lot more difficult, but we do what we can, right? And don't forget that third one up top up here. So they're pretty clean. So we're going to polish a little bit more. We'll try this more coarse stuff here. Much better. All right, I'm going to rinse this off real quick. Looks pretty good. Pretty happy with it. Now we have to choose the correct O-ring. So I also cleaned this out. I didn't use Scotch-Brite. I just used an old kitchen sponge and got it in there and scrubbed it out a little bit. There's a lot of buildup and black stuff in there. So in order to take this off, you have to take off the backup ring. So we're going to slide this back on up to the top, and then we're going to put this backup ring back on. So you put this on, you want the bevel to be down. It goes into the base, and the base, as it tightens up with the top ferrule nut thing here, it squeezes that guy closed. It's just a backup ring, so if it does end up springing a leak, it won't spray everywhere. So you just slip it on here like so, and just walk it up a little bit. Just walk it up one ring at a time, because the last thing we want to do is break this bad boy. Because I can guarantee that Home Depot doesn't have that. Forgot to buy a whole spigot just to get that. So now when you put this together, as that thing pushes down, it's going to actually, can't see it very well, it's going to go into the recess on the outlet, and it's going to squeeze that guy shut. So now we've got to determine which O-ring size we have here. They're pretty wore out. We have our two O-ring kits here. There's an SAE and a metric. It's probably metric. This is a watt system. I put it in about 18 years ago, so obviously I've changed this a few times. I should probably remember what the O-ring size is. But these kits come like so. They're pretty nice. Just a smorgasbord of different types of O-rings that you can use. So the best way I figure out how to do it is to try and match it up. Some of these are the same size. That looks a little too fat. That looks too big and too fat. So we just kind of compare them here. It's pretty thin, but it could be just because it's so wore out. So that one's a possibility. So probably this one's closer. Looks to be a little thinner than that guy. It is thinner, not by much, but that's going to be too big. And I think this guy's going to be too small, so we're going to have to go with the metric one. Yeah, that might be it. Let's slide one on and see how it fits. This is the 010, which equates to a 1/4 inch ID 3/8 outer diameter. That's funny. Use our nub there. Yeah, I think that'll work just fine. So the 010 here is what we're going to use. Again, 1/4 inch ID 3/8 OD. And we just kind of work them on, walk it over that guy. Now we got our two new O-rings. So when I turned around, I saw, oh, I got a little dish soap. That'll work as well too, because that'll end up working itself out. And again, it won't leave like a film. So we just take a very tiny amount of dish soap and just go around the edges like so. Just give a little coating so it'll slide in and out. Now I've also taken the Scotch-Brite and cleaned up inside here a little bit. We're going to take it and just shove it right back in the hole. Make sure it's all the way down, like that. Bring in our topper. And we tighten it up. Now this doesn't have to be super duper tight. There we go. Just so fingers can't undo it. So then we turn the water on. No leak, and within a week this should dry out. Water spigot on RO system. So I'll do my best to actually put links and stuff in the description down below to the O-ring kits and these beautiful Milwaukee tools. These things are lifesavers in a lot of different situations, especially this guy. And everything else we used, the Ullman picks. You can also get those at Harbor Freight. They're pretty cheap, probably $2 for all 4. There's a straight one, a curved one, a hooked one, and that little goofy one I used. The O-ring kits, Amazon. So that's an easy level 1 homeowner thing there if you got the right tools. So do it yourself. Have thumb out.